There is no clear guidance about how much money do you require to get the UK Visitors Visa. In today's video, I'm going to break down what are the financial requirements and how you can meet them, ensuring that you comply with the UK regulations and maximize your chances of approval. I will also be giving a tip in the middle of the video, so please make sure you watch the video till the end. Under the rules UKVI 4.2, it says you must be able to pay for the entire trip and meet the reasonable expenses without being dependent on UK public funds. So now it is not listing exactly how much money do you need, but it is saying that you should be able to look after yourself for the trip duration without being dependent on the UK. Now, how do you prove that? If you're a salaried professional, you need to make sure that you provide your employment contract proof supported by your pay slips for each month. You need up to 6 statements for the bank statements and 6 pay slips. That shows that the money that is shown on the pay slip after deducting taxes and social insurance deductions, that is the exact money that is being credited to the bank account. And if there is a deviation, for example, you got more money or there was a lapse of payment, you need to explain that as to why there was a deviation, because it becomes a red flag. Now imagine you're earning £1,000 a month in, say, India, and you convert it into local currency. After deducting all the taxes, that is the amount of money that is written on your payslip. Now we need to see the evidence of this exact amount being credited consistently in your bank account for the next 6 months prior to the date of application. So for example, we are in the month of June, so I would expect May, April, March, February, January and last December as statements supported by the 6 payment slips that shows the exact amount being credited. Then your employment contract shows who is your employer, where is your main place of work, what are the terms and conditions, what is your gross salary, that means the salary that is without any deduction of taxes, any benefits that you get, and whether the work that you do is permanent or contractual in nature. That is the first requirement. Now you might be earning X amount of money, but how do you ensure that actually you can meet those expenses in the UK? So what are the major expenses for the UK trip? The number one is, first of all, that when you apply for a UK Visitors Visa for say 6 months, it is costing roughly around £135 for the 6 months visa. Second is you need to travel to the UK. Now if you need to travel to the UK, you will need to take a flight. It doesn't matter whether you have a direct flight or indirect flight, as long you can show that the money that is required to buy this return flight from your destination. For example, if you're going from Lahore or New Delhi or whichever country you are coming from, that there is a return flight cost attached to it. So you take that provisional booking. You don't need to book it, you need to take the provisional booking as to showing that this is the airline leaving at this and this time from this destination and it will return back by this and this date. Now it is important that these dates are not random dates. These dates that are listed on the ticket should be matching the leaves approved by your employer, because sometimes if you're going for a very long time, the home office can question how come employer is granting you leave for 2 months. No employer would do that, right? So you need to make sure that the dates on the flights are matching, which are approved as your leave from your employer also. It is essential you bear that in mind. What else you need from your employer? You need a HR letter saying that this person is working for our company, his leaves are approved from this date to this date, and we confirm that he has to return back on this and this date, so that the letter acts also as a proof that you have strong ties that will compel back to come back from the UK after the trip. Please make sure you do not alter any dates, any information on that HR cover letter or on your any bank statement at all. If you do that, you could be accused of forgery and deception, and that will most likely lead to a 10-year ban. I recently made a video yesterday, which is at the end screen you will see, in which I explain the circumstances in which you can be banned. So if you are interested, you can look at that. Now it comes down to your accommodation cost. If you are being sponsored by someone who is actually living in the UK and you're going on a family visit, then you need to provide the sponsor's documentation, sponsor's invitation letters, sponsor's proof of accommodation like a tenancy agreement, sponsor's job status, some sponsor's settled status. Now if you are funding it yourself and stay in the UK for say a period of 10 days, then what you should be doing is go to a website like booking.com or Skyscanner and try to get the provisional booking without paying anything for the total, say, 10 night stay. It will give you the total amount required for that stay. That also becomes the block number 3 of your total cost. It doesn't matter whether you want to stay in a hostel or in a 7-star hotel. As long as you have the address, as long as you have the way to prove that you will be staying there, so it would require the name of the institution, the address and the dates. So it's always better to have the pricing provided in that. Now what else is remaining? This is a very important part. Once you reach the UK, you will need to spend money on eating and traveling, daily allowances. Typically, if you are a single person who's going to be eating out 3 times a day and is going to be traveling by a tube, you need to account for at least £150 per day to £200 per day as a ballpark figure. Now if you have an extravagant lifestyle and you spend thousands of pounds, I mean, it's completely up to you, but then your bank statement should support that. If you are putting amount for, say, travel insurance that you will be buying in advance, you should provide that. It should be nominal in terms of amount. Always put an amount for some contingency, that if something happens that you have not planned for, you put some money for it. You club all those costs together, that will become the cost of total trip. You give a clear breakdown of whichever source you are getting this information from. For example, for hotel stay and the flights, you can use booking.com, provide a clear snapshot. For the visa fees, provide the snapshot from gov.uk. For medical insurance, provide the name of the insurer, where they're registered and what is covered, you provide that. And for daily allowances, you say you have estimated based on the cost of living and also looked at the TFL fares for 7 days between zone 1, 2 and 3. Then you have put some amount for contingency or for shopping. In this way, you will be able to plan your financial requirements. Now, that is one thing that you plan, that this is costing this much. On the other side, what the Home Office will do is look at your income, which is the income from any sources. For example, you say you got a job, but besides that you are also earning income from rental property, whatever it is. You need to show all your sources of income so that the Home Office gets a good idea that you're economically consistent, that after this trip you will not be almost out of money and you are living within your means. What I mean by that is, this is one of the reasons why the application gets refused, is imagine you're earning £1,000 a month in, say, Pakistan, but your monthly expenditure is around 800 to 850 pounds. You got a family of 4 and you're only left with 150 pounds, but the trip cost is roughly going to be around 6,000 pounds. You have around 8,000 pounds in savings. You think that your funds are enough. Actually, what they will look at is 8,000 pounds minus 6,000, that is 2,000. They will look at your circumstances, that you got children, that you have to pay the school fees, and you have got a job that is paying. If you're living hand to mouth, the chances are they will not be satisfied that you will be able to afford the trip and then be able to come back and live the life as normal. Therefore, it is always important, say, when you're trying to plan for the trip, that instead of having 10-day trip, you can cut it down to 6-day trip, because the cost of hotel stay would come down, the cost of daily allowance would come down, and the flight prices may fluctuate. Another thing that people do is they make a mistake, and I see it quite often, is they ask their friends to put some money in the bank account to show that you got sufficient funds. Please don't do that, because the sudden funds that are deposited, even if it is, say, 100,000 pounds, if they are deposited, they will be the first one that will come into the eye of the visa case officer. If that fund is not supported by any explanation, then the visa would be refused. Now let me explain what I mean by that, why it would be refused. Under the rules appendix V 4.3, that if you're receiving any third party support, for example your uncle, aunt, father, mother, whosoever is giving you money, you need to first prove that you have a genuine ongoing personal or professional relationship. When you have that situation, say father is funding, you need to prove that why that person is paying. Say the gentleman who's paying for my trip, who has wired 100,000 pounds in my account is my father. Here is the proof of my birth certificate where my name is mentioned and my father is mentioned. So that is the first proof that you provided. Now why they're paying, you can just say I have my own job but I need some extra funds and partial funding is provided by my father. That is why he's paying. If your friend is paying, you need to show that how do you know this person, and do you have proof that you can substantiate that it is not a loan, but he's just paid me as a favor and I will return him without interest. You need to have some documentary proof. If you're taking money on loan, then it's important that the money is held in your account and it is in your control, and the institution that is giving you money has electronic record keeping, because the Home Office will make inquiry to that institution and find out if they do electronic record keeping. I've seen situations where visitor visa was refused despite having money in the bank account, because the person said, I took money from the loan from this person to go to the UK, he's lent me this money at this and this interest rate, but that person does not have an electronic record keeping. As a result of that, the visa was refused. So this is equally important, that not only you have enough money in the bank account, who the money is coming from, and can that money be tracked? Is it from a bona fide, legit financial institution, or is it from somebody from the family member, and has that family member provided their identification, their written confirmation that why they're paying, what is the nature of relationship? If you get all of that, then you maximize your chances of getting the visa approved. Now, if you don't know how to plan a financial itinerary, how to plan the trips, I have also created a video at my channel, how to plan the financial trip for the UK visitor visa, because that is going to help you plan how and where and how to present that information. If you require consultation, you can book in the description, and then we can take it from there. Thank you very much, and till next time, take care.